a completely different player.
It might just be comfort for those players, but we are going to be into Champs next, so we'll see what they pick up here for their first game. M3 on the blue side, EP over on the red. We have a Lee Sin ban there actually against Drizzle and an Annie ban. There's a Jarvan as well, so 2 junglers already banned out by M3.
Yeah, and I like this. There's a very... I guess before this patch came through, there was a very clear defined top cream of the junglers, and Drizzle performed well on both of them. But after that, it was kind of an unknown. So let's force him through there. Maybe looking for the first pick, Nidalee, that is so strong in this patch, and just give him an unknown jungler and see how he copes with it.
Yeah, we'll see here as Lissandra does come through as the second man there for EP as well. So smart stuff. They're taking that away mostly from Looper, honestly, who had a very strong performance in their first game against Vici and M3. I'm very curious to see if they ban another jungler. Rek'Sai has seen some play still on this patch, but isn't as popular. But even, Rengar's available there as well for banning. You mentioned Nidalee. We saw this a lot on the blue side. Teams seem to adapt a bit better to draft now. They love banning someone out and then picking their champion away from them.
Yeah, they certainly do love to do that. And I think that, oh, wow, actually, now being taken away. So that's even 2 maybe bans towards Amazing J in the top lane. Loves to take that. Kassadin, Looper plays it extremely well. Dade also plays it. Good flex pick.
Yeah, really good pick up there for M3. If M3 are going to get rolling, they need their strong solo laners to really get going. EP, I guess, to the same extent, also do so. The top half of the map with the jungle and the 2 solos, probably a good spot to watch here. I like the Azir ban from EP. That's lots of respect to Dade, who's looked very competent there. But Kassadin is a fantastic first pick in any draft, especially for this team.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I just like the variety it brings to both Looper and Dade's game. Taking away the Corki here, though. We mentioned that Candy might be looking to grab that. Opens up the possibility one more time for the Tristana. We keep going back to it. I hope we get to see it.
Well, we'll have to see Janna and Corki there to pick up. A bit of a polarizing bottom lane there. Janna obviously very passive. Corki a bit more aggressive, but strong champions across the board and a great bottom lane there. Kane, of course, very competent in Dreams. He only played in 1 game yesterday. Weirdly, we actually had a jungle substitution of all things, but he's going to hover this vine now.
Yeah, he certainly is, and that's a very Roe champion that he's hovering there. Roe was actually the person that kind of brought it back onto the scene. Very early Dragons coming out of Master3 when they were doing that. Once again, the good early game. So if it is played to the same pace, look for them to try and force earlier around that Assault and Battery.
Yeah, so Vi there picked up for the ulti and the Thresh there as well out for Love City, who looks fantastic like most of the Chinese supports on that champion. So I like what we're seeing here in EP. Going to make me smile a little bit.
Yeah, certainly. They're hovering the Victor at the moment. It's very, I guess, Victor's a different champion than a lot. Has very good extended trading potential. And actually just a Hecarim lock-in as well as a Rengar, so that will be a top lane pony this time around.
Yeah, and we talk about Amazing J being a big carry player. That's a big carry champion for him in the top lane, and looks like Drizzle is going to go to Rengar as his jungler. So Dreams, I guess, took the Vi away second rotation. Not very many junglers left. A good pick up there, but that is a very excited to see how the pony works out. It has worked, kind of hit or miss so far.
Yeah, it certainly has, and I just would encourage the audience to cast their eyes over to the summoner spells in the top lane at the moment. Let's not talk about them yet, but keep them in the back of our mind. We've seen some crazy things go through. I think that Sivir is a dangerous pick here. Rengar and Hecarim can gap close onto an AD carry extremely quickly. Throw in a very immobile mid laner as well. And there is a chance that if they fall behind here, Master3 can get snowballed over the top of.
Yeah, really safe pick here from Dade because he can't counterpick his mid lane, but not that much carry potential on the Xerath. It's a fine pick. It's very strong, but looks like EP are going to answer already. I think they're hovering. No, not quite there yet with the LeBlanc, but Raphael's going to get to counterpick this as Xerath.
Yeah, he certainly is, and there's a few things that you can take into Xerath. Things with gap closes typically do a lot better than champions that have to walk towards him just because of the upfront burst damage, but there's some good pick potential on Master3 lineup if we focus on what they do good. They get Dreams in there very quickly with Candy's ultimate, able to set up some long-range snipers. Looper will also be able to dive in and delete someone off the map, but you look over to Energy Pacemaker's lineup and their dive potential coming out, and Shu just to keep Kane safe on the back line. They have a lot of magic damage especially that will be able to delete people. Yeah, and that's one of the nice things about EP's comp. It's very early game focused. M3, a little bit harder carries, I guess, especially for Looper on the Kassadin, but a little bit more time there. It needs to get going. Vi, kind of mid-game focus, needs that level 6. Xerath, kind of goes through and starts affecting team fights and objectives and sieges especially. And I guess Sivir is reasonably good in the early to mid-game, but Energy Pacemaker are all in on the hard engage. Yeah, they certainly are, and Amazing J has kept his summoner spell, so that is a teleport ignite, so look for Dreams to get up there early and try and bully around the horse, because when we saw Hecarim come onto the scene, the first person I really saw play it, I guess, on the newer map was Keen over in North America, who used to take it into the mid lane, and he used to take it to melee assassins and just go the home guard boots, push out the lane, and then roam around as much as possible. So we've seen it a lot in China over the years, especially in the top lane. They were the first region to really popularize the carry Hecarim top. And so if anyone can play, it's probably going to be Amazing J.
Yeah, I mean, again, we talk about Amazing J as this very fun, definitely player to watch there on the top side for EP. Things could start happening. He loves his aggressive gimmicky summoner spells as well. So this is a very fitting first game for Energy Pacemaker.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I like the fact that they're trusting in exactly what their team's about. Really strong early game. Try and throw something different at Master3. Make them react. Make them make the first mistake. And then try and push in over there. They have a very single-minded team comp. Get in there, do a lot of damage.
All right, with that, let's get into the game. And we're on to the Rift here for Game 1 between M3 and EP. M3 over on the blue side for this first game. Energy Pacemaker over on the red here. Dade going to move out there with his Xerath. And again, we expect a lot of fireworks here in this early game. I like what both teams have actually drafted here, Spawn.
Yeah, I think that there is a lot of follow-up damage to come through from Master3 line. I think they have a good pick comp and then some good control, but it's just a much more snowbally lineup coming out of Energy Pacemaker. I think they've picked very much to their strength. So whilst Master3 definitely more standard lineup here, really unique and fun lineup coming out of Energy Pacemaker.
Yeah, and I like the standard observation there as well, especially for Looper and Dade, the Samsung twins, who have looked a lot better when they've actually played a little more in meta and just gotten their reps in on the, some of the champions that we've seen a lot of in the LPL. So Looper and Dade, they're almost always set up to carry on this team, and with the champions they've got here in the first game, that's going to be the case as well.
Yeah, certainly will. I think that the only thing they need to worry about is the fact that Cassidy will take a while to get going, and Amazing J has a huge one-item spike. As soon as that Trinity Force comes through from Amazing J, he's going to pump out so much mid-game damage. So as long as they can skirt the fact that Cassidy might be a little bit weaker early game after the first major item pickup, then that will be fine. And it looks like the response out of Energy Pacemaker is to actually swap the lanes.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. I mean, Corki versus Sivan, not super hot for Corki. Doesn't really get a lot of work done there. Just kind of has to sit under his turret and farm it. Cassidy is not a bad champion to 2v1, so I do like the swap there from EP.
Yeah, and the confusing thing is taking no defensive summoner spells into a lane swap means that if you teleport down to the bottom lane, you are in very, very big danger of being, I guess, just deleted off there. Looked like Master3 wanted to do something cute and take the red buff away for their AD player, but weren't able to manage to do that because they need to get down there and soak up the first couple of waves of experience.
Yeah, I think notice that the swap has started there, so Dreams and Looper will team up there for double jungle. Drizzle and Amazing J going to do the same, and it seems like Candy probably going to have to start pushing that wave if he hasn't done it already. But did want to get there and make sure he started that process as soon as possible.
Yeah, because he didn't get there, wasn't able to get the freeze, so it will be the push coming through, as you mentioned. Dade actually being forced off the wave so far from Raphael in the mid lane. LeBlanc's level 2 is actually quite strong when you take in the Q and the W. Being able to have some damage on an escape spell just makes it so much easier to pick up in the early game.
Yeah, Dade's just going to sit under his turret for a few early levels especially. Going to do as much farm as he can. Drizzle actually going to get some help from Shu there on the Janna, and I'll be able to do his third buff there pretty simply. It's always funny to see junglers do red buff at level 2, but that smite gives them back so much health.
Yeah, it certainly does, and being able to get around the jungle relatively quickly here was Drizzle. Extra camps being taken away by Master3, so they're really committing to this double jungle, whereas Amazing J, he's already gone down into the lane because it was actually pushed, and that's the advantage of having a lane pushed into you. Relatively safe now underneath the turret unless a dive comes through. In the top lane, however, not going to be able to get Looper up there for still quite some time because of the freeze.
Yep, Looper still hanging out there with Dreams here in the jungle. Just going to take away what Camp's doing. That does affect Vi a little bit just because she wants that experience more than anything else for their ulti. But M3 not too unhappy with the situation here. And I think Candy, especially if he gets his push going, it's going to maybe start some problems there for EP.
Yeah, so Candy need to try and shove the wave and get as much experience as possible. They're going to send both members of the, they're going to send Love CD and Looper back to duo top here and try and shove that wave into the turret. Maybe even look to get Dreams up there to break that freeze and get some much needed farm onto their Cassidy.
Yeah, Candy actually doing a nice job down here as well. Actually, Ben breaks it, but actually had a decent freeze going there, trying to deny a little bit away from Amazing J. But Looper and Seg will rotate in towards the top side, but he's actually going to find into Drizzle, although very smartly backs away.
Yeah, it's certainly doesn't want anything to do with that Rengar with all of the max ferocity coming through there. Too much CC to deal with it. Candy has actually got the wave in quite a nice position here. Amazing J and Shu trying to push it in, but once again, it won't be able to get there.
Yeah, just a little tricky. You can't really super push down waves with trying to hecker him, so they'll just kind of wait in there, and Candy do a good job holding that at the spot where he wants left. City's now up in towards the top as well, so going to start 2 different 2v1 top plus support lanes here in this game. And unfortunately for Lupa, he's fallen pretty far behind in CS early on.
Yeah, he certainly has. He's about 5 to nearly 20 coming through from Amazing J, and more importantly, the levels are level 2 to level 4. Lupa just getting level 3 then, and they're sending up multiple members to try and pick on this top lane.
Yeah, pretty massive roamers coming out there, but Data even started wandering over, so Raphael was moving in towards the top, and Drizzle got spotted up by the ward there as well, so EP going to give up that what would have been a 4-man gank here, and Lupa's going to try and get whatever CS he can.
Yeah, they're just trying to make that wave hit the turret flush, so then it will bounce back the next time round. Lupa probably chucking some extra points into his E to help that push come through. Candy actually scouting for the support player, looking to see if Amazing J is by himself. And Amazing J's had a very good early game. We mentioned that he would do well 1v1, but actually doing well against the AD player as well.
Yeah, and I think all of this swapping for EP is just to keep down Lupa's Kassadin. We know that it's going to take a while to get going. It's very powerful once he gets to the mid-late stages of the game, but right now Lupa is struggling in this early game.
Yeah, he certainly is. Still only managing to pick up roughly 9 CS. The good news for him is that the wave is finally pushing back in his direction, so he'll be able to pick up majority of this wave now, maybe even get some solo experience with Love CD roaming down and just looking to keep him safe from jungle ganks. So maybe things starting to look up for Master3.
Yes, a bit of freedom there for Lupa. Get some CS moving in. Candy doing a nice job here on the bottom side again, trying to keep out Hecarim as much as he can. Kind of abusing a little bit of the range versus melee matchup, but other than that, Dandy in the mid falling pretty far behind in CS. Actually, Raphael did a good job pressuring and pushing early on.
Yeah, so Raphael able to use LeBlanc's early game power. Of course, LeBlanc is very underrated as an early game mid laner, does surprising amount of burst. And really, Xerath needs a couple of levels in his abilities till he can really shove the wave. And that's what his, I guess, signature is, being able to use those 2 abilities to just really make it hit the turret nice and quickly, then leave and roam around. And as soon as those levels start coming through, he'll be completely fine, but needs to be patient and ensure he gets there.
Yeah, Dreams are down the bottom. Amazing J going to get Volt Break into the face. Candy with a great Boomerang Blade to follow in, but he will pop his either run away, and Amazing J will be fine for now.
Yeah, so no summoner spells burnt from either side, just an ultimate coming through from Candy, but that will give Candy the ability to shove out this wave and get a free back. Lupa in the top lane in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, he is there, and first blood is going to go to Corky. Finally, the 2v1. Enough pressure there for the first kill.
Yeah, so Lupa just getting caught out there. Didn't even elect to burn his summoner spell, the flash to get away. Would be interested to see how he did manage to get caught up, because not much CC really coming through from Jana and Corky that you can't dodge.
I mean, maybe just a bit too much pressure. Lupa not level 6 yet. Very low on experience, actually, in the top. So does pretty quickly at all of Corky's early abilities. And Kane's going to return to keep pressuring in that lane, or whatever lane he ends up in. He has a Sheen and the parts of his phage now.
Yeah, so now that they're to that point, feel confident sending it down against the Sivir. Circumvented a lot of Sivir's early laning power of being able to shove out and spell shield a lot of the abilities coming through from Corky, actually grouping up for that dragon because they recognize the teleport was used in the top lane.
Yep, smart rotation there from Energy Pacemaker. Again, off to a good start here in the early stages. Lupa will be very happy that he finally gets some farm. He's going to start shoving the wave in, but EP going to basically get a very impossible to contest dragon.
Yeah, and Lupa electing for components of his Catalyst versus, I guess, waiting that extra 60 gold for the Blasting Wand means that he will be a little bit weak at this point in the game.
Raphael, they're going in, just attempting to harass, but Dragon is going to go there to Energy Pacemaker. Drizzle with the smite, able to pick that one up. So first Dragon an advantage there to EP, and they got the first blood. Things looking good. Almost 1,000 gold ahead, actually.
Yeah, that's a really nice early game advantage. And this Hecarim, now that he's gone back and been able to pick up that cow, will be able to stand toe-to-toe with Lupa, who has no early game ability power coming through. So across the board, actually big positives for Energy Pacemaker. We mentioned that they're a snowbally squad. If they can get going around the 11-minute mark, things are looking fantastic.
Dreams is not quite level 6 yet, but Amazing J did pop the ulti. Dreams going to go in over the top. Lupa going to look for the kill, but Amazing J gets the first one. Dreams does find the return kill, but a good trade there, 2v1 by Hecarim.
Yeah, certainly, and once again, Lupa went for the bait, didn't use his flash to try and dodge out of any of the damage, and really didn't take the ignite into calculation. So Hecarim able to trade 1-for-1, and more importantly, the kill didn't go over to Lupa in response, so that's even better for him.
Amazing Day also still has his teleport up, so if he wants to quickly get back to lane, he can. And things going well for the Hacker Room. He's actually not going for a quick Trinity Force. It's got a Spectre's Count and a Ruby Crystal done already.
Yeah, so it has a Ruby Crystal. That could, of course, turn into the Phage, but maybe against the double AP, valuing that Spirit Visage that gives him back so much of the health from his W, looking to be a more of a tanky absorb fighter for the early part of the game, go into some damage later. But definitely a different build coming through than we're used to seeing for these Hacker Rooms.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly makes Cassidy's life pretty horrible there on the top side of the map. So he'll be comfortable landing there once he completes that item. And already Looper, just with his Catalyst, moving into probably a Rod of Ages, but he's struggling a lot here. Still 20 CS down.
Yeah, he certainly is, and that's a massive wave that just crashed into his turret as well. So he's being denied across the board. Needs to get going here because a lot of the eggs in the late game especially are in Cassidy being able to carry this one out. So any farm he can get against the pressure that is currently being put on by the Energy Pacemaker lineup is a good thing.
Yeah, we'll see here. Looks like we might have a scuffle in towards the Dragon actually. Drizzle and Shu just getting some wards out here. No Dragon left here. Dream's actually sitting on top of a pink ward with, I think he's red buff and a ward, so he's going to try and get the ulti, and Dade moves in for the stun, but doesn't find it. Love City was there as well, and M3 won't pull the trigger.
Yeah, they were looking to use the Assault and Battery there, but they saw Dade, who tried to throw out a stun. Unfortunately, it missed, so nothing coming of that. Meanwhile, Raphael farming out this mid lane nicely. Dade has caught back up in CS, but anytime that a LeBlanc's at this point, ooh, ult popped.
Yeah, Drizzle going to move in there. Looks like he's going to try and find the jungler. Dreams will rotate away, though. And Drizzle just going to use the ulti for pressure, get some good wards down. Yeah,
two very deep wards. If that second one had been a little bit lower in that brush, they're probably the two most important wards at this point in the game because it will keep eyes on Vi. And Vi gets into lanes, especially when that flashes back up, so deep. It's very hard to get out of range of a fully charged Vault Breaker and Assault and Battery, so being able to spot which side of the jungle she's on just gives you a little bit more forewarning.
And you can see Candy doing decently here against Kane in the bottom lane, building up a short CS lead right now. It's about 5 here, and with that BF sword, despite the strong sheen there from Corki, still not having very much fun in the bottom lane.
Yeah, still not able to really take it to the counter lane matchup, and with a kill, you would expect him to maybe do a little bit better here, but credit to the bottom lane out of Master3. The two, I guess, more unknown players coming through for the team, and they've really been able to step up and contribute to a lot of these mid-game fights.
Yeah, Dreams here up towards the top. Amazing Day going to have to get away. Assault and Battery getting popped. Looper getting a Roof Fog over the top, but Amazing Day going to ulti out and no chase coming.
Yeah, and just the ultimate burnt one more time, and the Assault and Battery, you would have to think at this point of the game, much more important than that onslaught. So a lot of pressure being put towards the top side of the map for no reward so far. Maybe a little bit misplayed.
Great box there, though. Flay back into it as well there as he does land the hook. Candy, though, can't actually get in, and Shu's going to survive that with all of his spells up.
Yeah, so once again, ultimate burnt on the side of Master3, not able to turn it into anything. 2 minutes until the next Dragon's up. You would think that they would just want a shot, push this wave out. Level 9 Candy is important because of how much damage will come out of that Q in a poke battle, especially around Dragon, but he's getting, I guess, bullied by Kane.
Yeah, Amazing Day even going to try and get into Looper. Looper really can't fight Hacker Room at this point, especially in a creep wave. And unfortunately for Candy in that little exchange, Boomerang Plague was on cooldown when that hook landed.
Yeah, it certainly was. And we see now Drizzle in this top lane looking to keep Looper down even further. Ultimate not available yet, so that's probably the only thing that just saved Looper's life.
Yeah, Looper able to Roof Walk out. No gap closer there really with both ultis down there for the jungler and top side, but they'll probably get the tower here. Amazing J will pretty much have the choice of whether or not he wants it. Looper's TP is back up, so he might be able to defend. The bottom turret's going to go down here as well, it looks like, by M3, so Candy Sivir doing what Sivir does best. Keep pushing and eventually take the turret.
Yeah, continually pushing in, going to try and get that last wave to crash completely against it, so the wave ends up fairly neutral. Actually, leaves 3 of the caster minions up, so it still will be pushing. Needs to get a quick back. 50 seconds until Dragon, and that's a Trinity Force Corki walking back towards that area. They're going to cede a lot of map control. Might even be caught.
Yeah, Candy does take the lantern out. Drizzle popped his ulti, but couldn't quite find the kill. So a bit of a waste to cool down there by Rengo, but it's going to force the bottom lane back. Dragon, though, back up in 35 seconds. Plenty of time for M3's bottom lane to get back.
Yeah, so Dreams needs to get a shop in. He's sitting on about 1,000 gold, 2,300. Infinity Edge picked up by Sivir. Master3 in an area where, although they're down by 1,000 gold, still can probably fight for this next objective because Rengar's ultimate is on cooldown.
I don't know if Looper wants to fight, unfortunately. He does have his TP to be able to join in, but he's still looking to try and finish that roller. Dreams' ulti is back off cooldown, though. And even Dade's powering up as well. In fact, both the mid laners have finished their early game items here. Morello Nomicon done for LeBlanc, and other things done there for Dade.
Yeah, and maybe Lupa's just in the top lane on duty of trying to keep away the Hecarim. Of course, that Q can still stop the teleport coming through. So look for him to start the teleport on a ward in vision and then try and cancel it and just take the big tanky horse out of the fight altogether.
Drizzle taking the damage, Kang into moving with his Trinity Force though, and Energy Pacemaker. Pretty difficult dragon for MD to contest. They might go in for the steal there. Gonna move in, but Rengar gets it. Dreams though, gonna try and dunk the Rengar, and Candy looks to pick up that kill. Now Lupa has poured it back in. Dreams taking so much damage. Amazing J. 3-man ulti there with the Hecarim, and Drizzle gonna dive back in. Kane doing so much damage from the backline. Raphael dives in for one. Dade gonna go down there as well. And that's 3 kills for Zero and the Dragon.
Yeah, and they're still going on the bottom side. Amazing J is absolutely huge at this point, and everything went wrong for Master3 there. Overcommitted to a fight, got 2 members extremely low, couldn't finish them off, and then the Hecarim came through and cleaned it up.
Yeah, and Lupa's tally looked good there, but Amazing J's was better, and Energy Pacemaker gonna look to even get a mid turret out of it as well, so very strong early game once again.
Yeah, and bottom turret will fall as well, so that's 3 objectives, 3 kills. Very nicely played.
And they are going to get the last tower here. Like you mentioned, Amazing Joe, it's going to move into the creep wave and whack him away. Kane with a Trinity Force. We talk about how good it is to group with a Corki. Energy Pacemaker really did a lot of work in those last 2 minutes.
Yeah, he certainly did. And the ability of just judging the power curve ahead of what Master3 were bringing to the fight. Dade got a lot of good poke through, but once Dreams had committed onto Rengar and wasn't able to finish off that kill, it just meant that the team fight was never going to go in their favor. Maybe even overcommitted towards the end as Raphael dove onto their backline. And bad news coming through once again.
It looks like red buff there. Drizzle was low because of the jungle minion, but does reset it. Got a shield there from Shu, but will be okay. Raphael with blue buff now going to clean it out in the mid, and almost a death cap done for this LeBlanc now as well. So looking very strong so far. And Energy Pacemaker, we expected one of these two teams to get ahead. It has been EP in this game to the tune of about 4,000 gold. From this point though, with that third dragon coming up in maybe 5 minutes time, M3 still trying to power up. Can Energy Pacemaker continue the momentum they've built here?
Yeah, it certainly looks like they're committing to a very tanky top laner here. They're going for maybe even a Frozen Heart next item. In a team comp where there's only really Sivir to deal with, the cooldown reduction is of course extremely nice on Hecarim, but maybe not something that they want to commit 100% to. Might just sit on the Glacial Shroud. I think that if he does go for a HP route, he will be very hard for a Kassadin and a Xerath to deal with.
Yeah, and going full tank here, so not that Trinity Force that we've seen a lot. I mean, it does make your mid-game a little weaker, because if you get the Trinity Force at a good clip, then you're able to actually get aggressive with it, but it at least ensures that Amazing J always does his job in fights, which is soak a bunch of damage.
Yeah, exactly right. They're just trying to keep him relevant throughout the game, and against the top laner of the prowess of Lupa, why not? And now he's going to be extremely devastating if he can get those big ultimates off, because he's going to heal a lot of his health back through that Spirit Visage, be able to deal consistent damage, which is, I guess, an underrated part of Hecarim's kit with how often the Q comes back off cooldown. And yeah, just really, with the lack of damage right now, Dade committing to a Majia's Soul Stealer again. We've seen this a lot when he's behind.
Yeah, it's back. The duo Dade strikes again here. And I mean, Xerath is a pretty good champion to have Majia's on, I can tell you that much. But M3 need to find a couple good fights here. Lupa does need to power up. I don't know how late that row is, but I assume it was rather late in this game, given that I just spotted it. We're almost up to 18 minutes in this game. Candy and Love City are going to join up to try and take out some turrets, and that's good pressure that they can put out, but the rest of the team just can't do a whole lot. In fact, Dade has to clear the way with his ulti, but EP is going to keep taking turrets.
Yeah, so they're looking to push in on the tier 2 in the bottom lane, the most devastating side of the map to push, because that means if the creep wave is all the way down there, puts so much pressure around the Baron that's going to spawn in about 2 minutes. And we've seen some very early Barons on this map, a lot squishier than we're used to seeing. And the actual adjustments coming out from Master3 here to pick up such an aggressive lineup versus a very standard Master3, looks like they have Master3 once again on the back foot.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Energy Pacemaker, a team that are very good at getting their leads. Just a matter of what they do with them here. And they've got some very strong timings now. So Raphael's done with his death cap. Vi's even going tanky with the Giant's Belt. BF sword's been added there for Kane for a probable Bloodthirst. They're going to follow that Trinity Force. Even the Mikhails is, halfway done now for Shu. Everything is going the way EP wants. It's just a matter of what they do now, and especially when that third dragon rolls around in a minute 40.
Yeah, and certainly now that they've opened up the map, all they're looking to do is use the Rengar ultimate around the Dragon and Baron area. Secure vision, which they have done remarkably well, specifically on the bottom side of the map. continue to use Rengar, pick people off, get Raphael in there, and at this point, I don't know if Masters3 can survive a team fight, let alone a really devastating pick combo that Energy Pacemaker put together.
Well, at this point, like it does end up in a lot of M3 games, Dade has to do a lot of work here on this Xerath, and it's not a massive playmaking champion, but Dade is a player that can make almost any situation look. So if anyone's going to really get it here, it's going to be Dade. Because unfortunately, even for Candy, who's had a very strong game, just not on a playmaking AD here with Sivir.
Yeah, and not on a tank buster. So having that tanky Rengar jump on top of you, as well as the Hecarim who's going for that Frozen Heart, just is going to mean that Candy doesn't have very good options on who to hit in fights, and probably is just going to be used more of as an ult bot. And this is what worried me about Masters3 composition there. That immobile in team fights, as soon as the Hecarim jumps in, as soon as Drizzle jumps in, if there are no summoner spells up for Dade, he really is a sitting duck, and it's only really Looper that can get a lot of work done. And with how far behind he is, not even anywhere near that second item, probably not going to be good news for another 10-15 minutes for Cassidy.
Yeah, that's a long time to have to farm up in this game as well. Even Candy semi-freezing this wave up towards the top, just trying to collect farm here. Dade, I don't think he's found a creep for maybe 2 minutes here in this game. He's been stuck all the way back, just trying to find farm wherever he can. Looper's getting all the farm that he can down towards the bottom side, but EP continuing to keep good vision up. Raffiano even going to dive down here.
Yeah, and Masters3, one thing they have done is they've kept good control over the bare minimum of their jungle resources. So whilst they're going to give up a lot of map resources, they won't give away the actual important jungle camp. So it's being good. Dreams is still able to farm up. He's sitting on more CS actually than Drizzle, his counterpart. So yeah, leave the global objectives, but you have to still try and control something on your area of the map.
Yeah, I mean, EP going to steal away the red buff now as well. That goes to Kane, and they're going to rotate back down to the bottom side. Amazing J with his telly in towards the top. It's going to be a very strong 4-1 from Energy Pacemaker.
Yeah, it certainly is. And now that that Frozen Heart's come through, who do they send to deal with it? Because Looper's already displayed that he's not the person that can 1v1. Candy isn't going to be able to get any work whatsoever done against this tanky Hecarim, so I really don't know. You can't send Dade up there because you just give up all the wave clear. Really not good options for Masters3.
Yeah, EP though, looks like they're actually backing off to spend some of their gold, so going to be able to power up a little bit more here. Corky not quite enough for two items, so I assume he's just spent some gold. Dade actually sitting on a lot of gold there as well, so has found reasonable farm despite being behind here in this game. And he's going to take away the Raptor there as well. And Bloodthirst are not quite done yet for Kane, so just got the Vamp Scepter on that last shot.
Yeah, able to pick up the Vamp Scepter gives him a little bit more sustainability in these fights. It's important because of the amount of poke that will come out of Dade. He doesn't want to catch any of those stray Xerath Qs. And now the pressure around the Baron side of the map. This is dangerous because they don't have a good Baron taking team. The early Barons we've seen is because we're seeing a lot of Kalista, some Nunu still coming through with the max Q. But when you look at Corky, a lot of mixed damage, but not a lot of good Baron taking damage unless you go for something like that Blade of the Ruined King. So it's an option. They can definitely go for it, but they need to be careful that they sweep out the wards properly, and they haven't done that yet.
Yeah, and instead they're just committing to the amazing J split push here with the Hecarim, which I do like because, as you mentioned before, Spawn, no one can really deal with the horse right now.
Yeah, no, he's definitely in a class of his own with how tanky he is. We see straight away Looper has to back away from that wave. Probably the saving grace, no Sheen, so it doesn't take turrets that quickly if we're grasping at straws, but still very strong in a 1v1 situation.
Look, Drizzle actually going to pop his ult to get a look for a pick here. Energy Pacemaker aggressively through the top side of M3's jungle, but don't quite find it. Amazing Day still sticking in towards the bottom, and Candy got decent wave clear when he can get in range. Going to try and steal the Grump, but Drizzle smites it away from him.
Yeah, and still a couple of key wards up for Masters3. Able to scout out that, I guess, ambush as soon as it came through, so able to back off, and they are looking like they're stalling out this game nicely. Nothing has really happened for about 5 minutes, but Amazing J is relentless in this bottom lane.
Yeah, I wonder if he's going to get a Sheen. This will make the job that much quicker, but Looper just can't do anything. Even takes a turret hit. Going to walk back in, rampages up the minions. Still tanking them. That W, though, is healing so much.
Yeah, it certainly was. As soon as you have a champion in that W, throw in all the minions, it just gives you so much health back. Dade popped his ultimate trying to steal away the blue buff. Wasn't even up, so that's going to be taken away from him right now, and things looking very rough for Dade as well as the rest of the Masters3 lineup. Has now picked up a needlessly large rod, so his wave clear is still good. He's getting that base AP up there at least, but just no ability to fight toe-to-toe.
And for me, when we maybe look back on this game here, is it just the M3 just dropped a little too greedily? Because we have seen some teams just go a little too far with how they want to draft.
Yeah, they certainly had a very strange draft, very close range once again. With the exception of the Xerath. I think that they didn't respect the dive that will come out of this Rengar and the Hecarim top lane. Of course, it might just be an experience against playing against it.
Amazing J actually just uses his ultimate, getting it flayed back there. Dream's going to find him. That's a great death set. It's Vault Breaker as well. Ult not being used by Raphael, diving into the backline there. Dreams gets the first kill. Raphael gets out. And M3 finally finds something.
Yeah, so they get one kill. A fantastic flash play coming out of LoveCD. He's been pretty spectacular on the Thresh. And the bottom lane out of Master3 really is their saving grace in this game. CSing very well as Candy. Good playmaking coming out of LoveCD. They lose a turret, but they get something back at least.
Yeah, I mean, they'll answer here. They'll take it. EP still only about 5,000 gold ahead, so haven't grown much of their lead despite how much control they've had. But Kane going to get going here as well. Going to take away the Gromp there. Dragon back in 2 minutes. That'll be the 4th straight for Energy Pacemaker if they pick it up. And unfortunately for Candy, I feel like if we're talking about drafting at least, the fact that he seems to favor more short-range carries does hurt M3 a little bit here.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I actually think that's a problem with the Sivir pick in general, is what do you do when you get to this point in the game? Sure, you clear waves very well, but you're not a tank buster. You don't scale better than your counterpart. So from behind, you really are just relied on for that ultimate, and it becomes a tough situation, just contributes different things than we're used to seeing in ADs. Whereas at least if you're on something like a Grave, something like maybe even a Crystal's Draven, you participate as you scale up a lot better.
Yeah, and if we're going to talk about, you know, that being maybe an issue for M3, big points to Amazing J for the build that he went this game. Full tank, knowing that Sivir can't get through. Even Rengar had, you know, delaying some of his tank getting because he doesn't have as much farm. He was making more plays, he just wasn't getting vision up. And Amazing J is just all of the problem for M3. Yeah,
it certainly is, and there's not really much they can do to deal with him at this point. So if he is the option to hit, there's no way that Dade's shredding through him. There's no way that Lupa is shredding through him. As we have a little bit of action now around this red buff, looking to steal it away once again. Ping's going out from Master3 onto that side of their jungle, but yeah, Amazing J, very smart build, calculated in what he wanted to do. It was an aggressive pickup, but played it as a very solo tank in this lineup.
Yeah, and it's worked nicely here. I'm curious to see what Drizzle does. I imagine he's still going tanky, but right now, Amazing J owns all of the power here in this particular game. And for me, Spawn, game slowed down quite a bit here. Energy Pacemaker have done what they need to do. They've taken almost all of the tier 2 turrets. I think this one in the mid, the only one left, and they're going to group for it now before the Dragon. Of course, they want to wait for the next Dragon as well. So everything going well here for EP. They've basically taken as much as they can expect to take, given the situation they ended up in. My question for them now is, after they take this 4th Dragon, what happens? How quickly can they close the game?
Yeah, so I think they actually wait for the next Dragon and hope that Master3 come out of their base. I think that on the new patch, especially with how quickly Baron falls, with the fact that they have a Corki with a Trinity Force Bloodthirster, if they can get a good fight outside of the base, they still don't want to dive yet. Maybe with another defensive item from Amazing J coming through before they want to commit to that. They can just hope for picks. They've got the LeBlanc, they've got the Rengar, and really group up around objectives. I think this was always the plan. They've sieged out everything they can. They've got a nice gold lead. Now just wait for bait around Baron, wait for the next Dragon, pick up those 2 important buffs, and then take the game from there.
Yeah, so we'll see how they approach that. But a very clean, methodical game here for Energy Pacemaker so far. You know, had the more aggressive early game that we're used to, played that very well to give themselves a lead. And once they got there, slowed down a little bit, make sure they took, you know, the necessary steps, and they've gotten themselves to a big lead here. I mean, the gold lead itself is still about the same here, but the Dragon control and the general map control has been stellar.
Yeah, it certainly has. And this is the thing. If you're not a fantastic late game team and you have a lead, just slow the game down. Take it back to basic. There's no need to force because they've won this game out of just being clean and methodical. Nearly IG-esque from the other day. Just starve people off camps. Make sure that there's not resources going out to the Masters3 lineup and just stay in their face, keep the pressure up. And now that they're baiting around this Baron area, it's going to get to a point after 3 minutes. Even if they don't sweep out the wards, they know that Masters3 can't get in an area to refresh them. So they'll just be able to take it uncontested.
Yeah, and Amazing J still sticking in the bottom lane here, being so annoying on the Hecarim here. Actually does have a Phage now, so going to finally build in towards a Trinity Force. And a bit of health doesn't hurt there either.
Yeah, it certainly doesn't. And Trinity Force just synergizes well with every single part of Hecarim's kit, of being able to pop that E, all the added movement speed that comes through, as well as the Sheen proc. He does pretty ridiculous damage with just that one item. Throw a Warmogs on top of that, and he's probably as scary as he could potentially be on any champion.
Yeah, and for all the mid-game power here for EP, they know Slaps is in the later stages of the game, especially if they keep their lead. But Amazing J going to go in very aggressive. Drizzle actually moving in there. So Amazing J goes in, gets the two-man ulti. Dade in trouble. Raphael going to get that next kill play there back onto Dreams. Now Love City going to get chased down there as well. Dreams are going to go down next, and Kane picks up that kill. What a teleport, 2-0.
Yeah, and how quick was that? Hecarim running into the whole team. Another three-man ultimate off the back of that. And once again, all they did was wait for Master3 to overextend for an objective, pick off two members, turn it into a Baron, and that's pretty clean play.
Yeah, the Homegrown Mercreds doing very good work there for Amazing J. Baron melts here under the pressure of Energy Pacemaker. And you know, we said it, they're playing very safe, very carefully, but every step has looked so clean.
Yeah, it certainly has, and why play it any other way? There isn't an answer out of Master3. They don't have a tank buster. They're so tanky. Let's take a look at it again. The teleport comes in. Nice box out of Love CD, but Amazing J, he just transverses the terrain, pushes Dade back into the team, and is able to be picked up by Raphael. Off the back of this, they have no response for Amazing J. He is the point man the whole way through and took 0 damage.
Yeah, that was M3 with 2 defensive pink wards in the blue side of their jungle as well. So Amazing J with the home guards there, just teleporting in, not a care in the world. That's the sort of Amazing J play we love to see.
Yeah, it certainly is. And being able to pull the trigger on that teleport as soon as he wants to, he has very, very decisive plays off the back of that. One of the better teleport users, particularly around helping his team, uses it well in the laning phase. So this has been a pretty spot-on Amazing J game. If this is how we would like to play every game, you could probably look at this. Did well in the lane swap, was able to really get the farm up that he needed, and now he's just become an absolute beast in these team fights.
I think the lane swap's probably my favorite thing of this, actually, because if Amazing J had gotten the 1v1 then that he wanted here, I think he would have done even better in this game. And that's not to say that he didn't do well in the lane swap, but that's a scary thing to think about.
Yeah, exactly right. He was against a Sivir, so he was against a ranged champion and was still able to build and cement the lead. And then after that, Dreams camped him. 2 of the early game Vi ultimates were used on this Hecarim, and still he's at this point of the game where he can just run up and tank objectives, tank out turrets. Dragon's going to respawn in about 3 minutes, and 2 minutes, and that one's probably once again just going to go over to Energy Pacemaker.
I mean, good news at least for M3 is that they do still have strong wave clear. EP are going to struggle maybe to break the base here. Amazing J just tanking all the minions, doesn't care at all. And Baron buff is on EP, so if they can split people up especially, shouldn't have too much trouble breaking the rest of the base. Can also dive as well. Amazing J, very tanky. And just actually going to pop in for the ulti. Tower, though, is melting.
Yeah, they're just using the ulti to zone.
Yeah, Kane actually getting grabbed. That's a good 3-man play, though. Kane are going to get aggressive by Dreams. So Amazing J just plows through them with the onslaught of shadows. Dreams going to go down as well. That's 2 free kills. Inhibitor going to get broken down as well. Dada even the target now as well. Amazing J just running into the fountain trying to get some kills. Gets played back, so no more kills left, but the base has been broken open.
Yeah, and Amazing J actually looks like there is not a scratch on him. He lost about 200 health in that whole exchange. Now willing to take the turret up for his team. What a game out of the top laner of Energy Pacemaker, and overall much better strategic play.
Yeah, really strong stuff. They're going to leave the base now, but 2 inhibitors are down there as well. They can take whatever they want. The 5th Dragon's going to come back for them here in 50 seconds. Amazing J even going to walk in towards the top side of the map just to take the farm that he very rightly deserves here. And Energy Pacemaker in complete control, 10,000 gold in the lead.
Yeah, and pastry time, we said that maybe Looper and Dade were starting to look better. 0-4 between the Samsung players, having an absolute nightmare on the Rift. Just no tools to deal with what Rengar and Hecarim are bringing in. That was a very late round Xerath pick. They knew exactly what they were getting into with the dive composition coming through. It was only really Raphael that rounded out the composition for Energy Pacemaker, and you have to question why Dade picked it up.
Love City could be in trouble, but Dade going to look in. Maybe he can get some attack stacks here, but no, is denied. No, gets the kill there with the Ignite. Kane, though, going to move in and take the stacks away.
Yeah, so Kane able to return the kill, so Dade gets maybe a confidence booster, and then it's ripped away. 3-0 on 5. Kane's had a fantastic game as well. You look down the list of Energy Pacemaker players, no one's really had a poor performance here, and they're going to pick up that all-important 5th Dragon, and that probably spells lights out.
Yeah, this game has looked very difficult for M3 pretty much for the last 20 minutes or so, and that 5th Dragon likely spells the end here. Baron even may be back in a few minutes if they want it, but 2 bits of the base broken already. They don't need much more than this.
Yeah, they certainly don't. Look for them to head up into the top lane. They can just shove that wave back in their favor, be able to pick that one up. And Looper still just trying to scratch together a semblance of an item build. Has 2 items, but it's against nearly a completed 4 items coming out of Amazing J.
I have to say, the lane swap in the other game really screwed over Looper, especially here. M3 just had no good response to that swap. Even Candy couldn't freeze the lane, so Amazing J never fell behind.
Yeah, exactly right. That was what it was all about. A really nice freeze came out of Kane and Shu, and Looper was just thrown under a complete bus. They didn't commit enough resources to breaking the freeze early. In the end, he just got absolutely decimated. Being starved off creeps as a carry top laner like Cassidy just makes you feel completely useless. Couple in the fact that there's 2 very tanky members, and it just meant that he hasn't been able to get anything going. No assassination potential. Corki's too strong at this point. Even Raphael would beat him in a 1v1. It's just been a bad overall game.
Yeah, and the snowball is very real here for EP. They got the edge they needed and have carried it all the way to this point in the game. M3 have very little to hold on to, but their top inhibitor turret is still up. Their Nexus, oh, never mind. Amazing J working on the Nexus, actually. Got a random and Zoman after this. Didn't even want anything other than the Phage.
Yeah, so just sitting on the Phage there, and I think it was because he recognized that at some point they were going to have to dive like they did the last time round, so just trying to get as tanky as possible. And now he's at this point, he can just corral both minion waves, and unless Master3 commit all of their members to him, he really has no threat of dying.
Yeah, top tower goes down there. Kane easily able to take it out. Drizzle actually popped his ulti, but doesn't really do anything other than that. M3 going to try and defend their last Nexus, not inhibitor, sorry. Candy will pop the ulti. Looper looking to move in, but can't do anything. Amazing J still working on the Nexus tower. Gets it with the help of some super creeps here. Oh, never mind, doesn't quite get it. What if he walks up and just hits it? Come on, buddy. Nope, doesn't want to do it. So it'll stay alive for now. Regens pretty quickly, actually, but M3 have just no good choices left.
Yeah, they have absolutely no choice. Darde's chunked out as well. This will probably be Energy Pacemaker closing out a game in emphatic fashion.
Amazing J right in the backline, dives in with the ulti, looks to be in trouble actually here, and maybe Andrana can save him. It does shield up there, almost living but can't quite live through it, but EP just going to take the game instead. No, M3 actually going to defend for now. Darde trying to poke his way in. It's actually 5v4, but M3 are so low after all that poke. Can't defend their own Nexus. Kane goes in aggressively, and Energy Pacemaker wiped the floor with Master3.
Yeah, a complete shutout. 14,000 gold in the end, 36 minutes. Really nicely played from start to finish for Energy Pacemaker. We said that they started the games fantastically, and Master3 just proved that once they get behind, they don't really have any answers to this strategical map play coming out. Couldn't set up any picks, weren't able to get their team comp involved at all. In fact, their team comp as a whole was just all over the place. And in the end, Energy Pacemaker made them play.
Yeah, let's have a replay there as well. I wonder if Hecarim will feature.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it. This is a one where he just destroys a whole team single-handedly. So if we roll this out, look at the pink wards, and Hecarim doesn't have many cares in the world, just jumps over the wall and pushes Darde back into his team more importantly. He was able to be cleaned up by Raphael, and from there, Hecarim and Amazing J and Drizzle running point are just so tanky at that point in the game that they were taking no damage. All the spells were being thrown backwards. They were trying to peel them off, but with Merc Treads, there was nothing stopping that horse. Really big props to Drizzle as well. We mentioned that he got hit with 2 jungle bans and was still able to pull through with a great Rengar game.
Well, I know that there are some fans that worship at the Church of Amazing J, so that game was for you. The only question is, can he do it again? Game 2 to an M3 and Energy Pacemaker is coming up right after this.